The signal from beyond. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the research vessel Horizon, watching the asteroids of Tau Ceti's belt drift like cosmic dancers through the void. 20 light-years from Earth, the scattered rocks held secrets that had consumed her life for the past decade. The signal patterns they emitted defied conventional physics, crystalline structures that sang with impossible regularity. "Dr. Chen," called a voice behind her. "The latest analysis is ready." Sarah turned to face her research partner, Dr. Marcus Wong, his dark eyes bright with excitement, despite the exhaustion etched on his face. They'd been scanning this sector for 3 months, following a trail of mathematical breadcrumbs that seemed deliberately placed. "Show me," she said, following him to the ship's primary research lab. The holographic display filled the center of the room, showing wavelength patterns that pulsed with an almost organic rhythm. "It's not random noise," Marcus said, manipulating the display with practiced gestures. "Look at this sequence. It repeats every 47 minutes, but with subtle variations that suggest intelligence." Sarah finished, her heart racing. "It's a language." The patterns matched hieroglyphs she discovered in an ancient temple complex beneath the Gobi Desert, markings that predated known human civilization by at least 100,000 years. She'd been laughed out of 3 universities for suggesting they were of extraterrestrial origin. Now, 20 light-years from Earth, the same patterns danced before her eyes. "Captain Reynolds needs to see this," she said, already reaching for the ship's comm system. But before she could activate it, the entire vessel shuddered. Warning klaxons blared as the Horizon sensors detected a massive energy spike emanating from the asteroid field. Through the lab's viewport, Sarah watched in awe as several of the larger rocks began to shift, revealing gleaming surfaces beneath their dusty exteriors. "They're not asteroids," Marcus whispered. "They're pieces of something bigger." The rocks continued their cosmic ballet, but now with purpose, drawing together like magnets. As they assembled, they revealed a massive crystalline structure that dwarfed the horizon, a vessel of impossible beauty and complexity. "All hands, this is Captain Reynolds," the ship's speakers crackled. "We're detecting a gravitational anomaly. Prepare for emergency maneuvers." But the horizon didn't move. Instead, a beam of prismatic light engulfed the research vessel, holding it in place. Sarah felt a strange resonance in her mind, like a half-remembered song trying to surface. "The patterns," she said suddenly, rushing to her workstation. "They're not just a language. They're an activation sequence." Her fingers flew over the holographic interface, reproducing the signals they detected. Each one corresponded to a specific frequency they'd recorded from the hieroglyphs. The crystalline vessel responded immediately. Streams of light coursed through its structure, like blood through veins, and a voice filled their minds, not in words, but in concepts and emotions that translated themselves into understanding. "We are the echo. We have waited for those who could hear our song." "It's a quantum neural network," Marcus said in amazement, checking his readings. "The entire structure is like a massive crystalline brain." "You bear the markers we left within your species code," the voice continued, focusing its attention on Sarah. "You can understand our song because we wrote it into your ancestors' DNA." Sarah's mind reeled with implications. "You engineered us. We gave you the potential to hear us. What you became was your own journey. Now you have found us, and none too soon." The Devourer's approach. Images filled their minds, vast cosmic entities that consumed civilizations' knowledge and technology, leaving empty husks of planets in their wake. The Resonance, as they called themselves, had seeded the galaxy with their technology and genetic markers before vanishing, preparing for the day when a species would evolve enough to find them. "Why us?" Sarah asked, even as she felt the answer forming in her mind. "Because humans create. You imagine. You defy logic with inspiration. We built the foundation, but you exceeded our design. The Devourers cannot predict what they cannot understand, and humanity's greatest strength is its beautiful irrationality." Captain Reynolds' voice cut through their mental communion. Dr. Chen, we're detecting multiple objects entering the system at FTL speeds. Whatever this thing is, we're about to have company. Sarah felt the crystalline vessel's anticipation. The time of preparation is over. Will you join with us? Will you become our voice in the coming storm? She looked at Marcus, who nodded slowly. They both knew there was only one choice. Humanity had spent millennia looking up at the stars, dreaming of its place among them. Now the stars were calling back, offering not just knowledge, but a purpose. "We'll help," Sarah said, feeling the weight of history settling on her shoulders. "Show us what we need to do." The crystalline vessel's response was immediate. The beam of light surrounding the horizon intensified, and Sarah felt knowledge pouring into her mind. The true history of human evolution, the nature of the universe's deepest mysteries, and the terrible threat that had sent the resonance into hiding. As the first signs of the devourers appeared at the edge of the system, massive distortions in space-time that defied physics, Sarah understood why the resonance had chosen humanity. In all their vast knowledge and power, they had discovered that the universe's greatest weapon was not technology, but the unpredictable spark of human creativity. The real question was, would it be enough to save both their species from what was coming? The crystalline vessel pulsed with power, ready to begin humanity's greatest test. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, the devourers sensed a new prey. Unaware, they were about to encounter something they had never faced before. Human ingenuity combined with ancient power. The game was about to begin. First contact. The devourers arrived like tears in the fabric of reality. Massive, geometrically impossible shapes that seemed to fold space around themselves. Sarah watched from the crystalline vessel's control center, her mind linked to its vast neural network, as three of them emerged from the void. Multiple contacts. Captain Reynolds' voice crackled through the comm. "Nothing like we've ever seen. Dr. Chen, please tell me that fancy alien ship of yours has some defensive capabilities." Sarah felt the vessel's response before she could form the words. Knowledge flooded her consciousness. The ship, which called itself the Echo, was more than just a weapon. It was an instrument, designed to channel energy through the quantum harmonics of space-time itself. "Captain," she said, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her stomach, "get your crew into the shielded sections. What's about to happen? Physics isn't going to work the way we're used to." Through her neural link, Sarah could sense the devourer's nature. They weren't just creatures. They were living algorithms, entities that had evolved to consume information itself. They broke down civilizations into pure data, absorbing their knowledge and leaving nothing but empty husks behind. Marcus worked frantically at a nearby console, his fingers dancing over crystalline interfaces. "Sarah, these readings are impossible. They're not just bending space, they're rewriting the local laws of physics." The Echo pulsed in response, sharing memories of countless civilizations that had fallen to these cosmic parasites. But it also shared something else: hope. The resonance had designed their vessel to be more than a match for the devourers, but only if wielded by a mind capable of true creativity. "They're launching some kind of attack," Marcus warned. Streams of corrupted data, visible as crackling black lightning, reached out from the devourers toward both ships. Sarah closed her eyes, letting her consciousness merge deeper with the Echo. The vessel's crystalline structure began to vibrate, producing harmonics that rippled through space. But instead of following the rigid patterns the resonance had designed, Sarah did something unexpected. She improvised. Drawing on her knowledge of Earth's music, she wove jazz rhythms into the quantum harmonics. The unpredictable patterns created interference waves that disrupted the devourers' attack, scattering their corrupted data harmlessly into space. Unexpected variation, the Echo observed with something like surprise. The resonance never considered using chaos as a defense. "That's because they thought too logically," Sarah said, maintaining the erratic pattern. "Humans understand that sometimes the best pattern is no pattern at all." The devourers reeled back, their geometric forms distorting as they tried to analyze this new defense. Sarah pressed the advantage, weaving more complex variations into the echo's harmonics. Each movement was a combination of mathematical precision and artistic freedom, a symphony of science and creativity. But the Devourers were ancient and powerful. They adjusted quickly, launching a coordinated attack that threatened to overwhelm Sarah's improvisations. Multiple breaches in the Horizon's outer hull. Captain Reynolds reported, "Whatever you're doing, Dr. Chen, we need more of it." Sarah felt sweat beading on her forehead as she struggled to maintain the defense. The Echo's systems were incredibly powerful, but they were designed for precision and control. Using them this way, with human spontaneity, was putting immense strain on both the ship and her mind. Then Marcus spoke up, his voice carrying an idea that would change everything. "Sarah, remember your theory about the hieroglyphs, how they weren't just a language, but a musical score?" "Yes," she said through gritted teeth, deflecting another attack. "But I never could prove the patterns we found in the asteroid field," he continued excitedly. "They weren't just signals. They were parts of a song, the Echo's song. What if we taught it to sing something new?" Sarah's eyes snapped open. Of course, the resonance had created the echo to be perfect, precise, logical. But they had chosen humans as their successors because humans were none of those things. Humans were messy, creative, and endlessly adaptable. Through her neural link, Sarah began to reprogram the Echo's quantum harmonics. Instead of trying to match the Devourer's impossible geometry with precision, she introduced human concepts of rhythm, melody, and most importantly, improvisation. The crystalline vessel shuddered as its fundamental nature began to change. The rigid patterns of its design gave way to something new, a fusion of resonant technology and human artistry. Energy coursed through its structure not in straight lines, but in sweeping curves and spirals. The Devourers, confronted with something that defied their analytical nature, hesitated. Their attack faltered as they encountered patterns they couldn't predict or consume. "It's working," Marcus shouted, checking his readings. "Their cohesion is breaking down." Sarah pushed harder, weaving more complexity into the Echo's song. The vessel's crystalline structure began to pulse with colors that had no names, each wave of energy carrying both mathematical precision and artistic chaos. One of the Devourers, unable to process the contradictory patterns, began to collapse in on itself. The others retreated, their geometric forms twisting in ways that suggested confusion or even fear. As the threat temporarily receded, Sarah felt the Echo's consciousness merge more fully with her own. The vessel had been transformed by their encounter, becoming something neither the resonance nor humanity had imagined, a true fusion of logic and creativity. "We are changed," the Echo observed. "The resonance built us to be perfect, but you have taught us to be alive." Sarah smiled, understanding now why the resonance had chosen humanity. It wasn't just their potential for advancement or their ability to understand advanced technology. It was their fundamental nature, the beautiful contradiction of being both rational and irrational, scientific and artistic, precise and chaotic. But as she watched the remaining Devourers retreat into the void, she knew this was just the beginning. They would return, and next time they would be prepared for simple chaos. Humanity would need to evolve even further, pushing the boundaries of both science and creativity to survive what was coming. The real war for the galaxy's future was about to begin. Evolution. In the 2 weeks since their first encounter with the Devourers, the Echo had become more than just a ship. Through its neural link with Sarah, it was evolving, learning to think in ways its original creators never imagined. The crystalline vessel's interior had begun to reshape itself, geometric patterns flowing into organic curves that better suited human intuition. Sarah stood in what they now called the synthesis chamber, surrounded by holographic displays showing the latest modifications to the Echo systems. Earth's governments had responded to their discovery with a mix of fear and fascination, sending their best scientists to study the vessel. but none of them could interface with it the way she could. The quantum harmonics are stabilizing, Marcus reported, monitoring the changes. But these new patterns, they're unlike anything in the resonance database. Sarah nodded, feeling the ship's consciousness intermingle with her own. The Echo was learning to dream, to imagine possibilities beyond its programming. It was a transformation that both thrilled and terrified their Earth observers. Dr. Chen, a stern voice called from the chamber entrance. Admiral Helena Reeves, Earth's military liaison, strode in with her usual air of authority. The Security Council is demanding answers. What exactly are you doing to this alien vessel? Sarah turned to face the Admiral, noting the concern in her eyes. We're not doing anything to it, Admiral. We're evolving together. The resonance built the Echo to be perfect, but perfection isn't enough against the Devourers. We need to be unpredictable. As if to emphasize her point, the chamber's crystalline walls pulsed with shifting colors, creating patterns that somehow managed to be both mathematically precise and artistically wild. The Echo was expressing itself, learning to communicate in ways that went beyond mere data. Show her, Marcus suggested, gesturing to their latest breakthrough. Sarah nodded, closing her eyes to focus. Through her neural link, she accessed the Echo's newly developed capabilities. The chamber filled with a three-dimensional representation of spacetime, showing how the Devourers had attacked them. The resonance thought the key to defeating the Devourers was perfect coordination, flawless execution, Sarah explained, manipulating the display. But that's exactly what makes their attacks predictable. We're teaching the Echo to be spontaneous. The hologram shifted, showing their new defense systems. Instead of the rigid crystalline structures the resonance had designed, the patterns now flowed like water, adapted like living things, and changed like music. Admiral Reeves studied the display with military precision. You're telling me this ship is learning to improvise, like a jazz musician? Exactly like that, Sarah smiled. The Devourers are living algorithms. They can predict and counter any logical defense. But human creativity, our ability to make intuitive leaps, to find patterns in chaos, that's something they can't process. Suddenly, the Echo's warning systems flared to life. Sarah felt the disturbance before the sensors could confirm it. Space-time distortions at the edge of the solar system. They're back, Marcus announced, his fingers flying over the controls. 7 of them this time, bigger than before. Admiral Reeves immediately activated her comlink. All Earth Defense Forces, battle stations. This is not a drill. But Sarah barely heard her. She was already deep in communion with the Echo, preparing their defenses. The vessel's crystalline structure hummed with energy, but now the vibrations carried hints of Earth's many musical traditions. Jazz, classical, indigenous rhythms, all woven into the quantum harmonics. They have adapted, the Echo observed as the Devourers approached. Their patterns show evidence of chaos integration. Then we'll just have to get more creative, Sarah replied, both aloud and through their link. The first attack came like a tsunami of corrupted data, more complex and chaotic than before. But Sarah was ready. Instead of trying to match their chaos with more chaos, she introduced something the Devourers couldn't possibly prepare for: human emotion. Through her neural link, she poured not just patterns but feelings into the Echo's defenses: joy, fear, hope, determination. The crystalline structure responded, transforming these abstract human concepts into energy patterns that defied conventional physics. The Devourers' attack fragmented against this emotional barrier, their corrupted data scattering harmlessly into space. But they pressed forward, their impossible geometries shifting and adapting. Multiple contacts entering Earth orbit, Marcus reported tensely. They're trying to split our attention. Sarah felt a surge of fear, not for herself but for her home world. The Echo resonated with her emotion, and suddenly she understood something the resonance never had. Emotions weren't a weakness to be engineered away, but a source of tremendous power. Through their neural link, she began to share not just her own feelings, but the collective emotional experience of humanity. The triumph of first steps, the wonder of discovery, the courage to face the unknown. The Echo absorbed these concepts, integrating them into its very structure. The vessel's crystalline surface began to pulse with unprecedented energy patterns. Each facet became a window into human experience, projecting not just power, but the very essence of what made humanity unique. The Devourers hesitated, their attack patterns becoming erratic. They had evolved to consume knowledge and technology, but they had never encountered anything like this, a fusion of advanced technology and raw human emotion. As the battle in Earth's orbit reached its climax, Sarah realized the true gift the Resonance had given humanity. They hadn't chosen humans for their potential to use the Echo's technology, but for their potential to transform it into something entirely new. The war for the galaxy's future would not be won with perfect weapons or flawless strategies. It would be won with the chaotic, beautiful, impossibly creative human spirit. And the Devourers were about to learn just how powerful that spirit could be. Symphony of Souls. The battle above Earth had reached a stalemate. The Devourers, unable to process the emotional resonance of the Echo's defenses, had withdrawn to the outer solar system. But Sarah knew they weren't retreating. They were evolving, learning, preparing for something bigger. In the Echo's central chamber, now transformed into a space that seemed to breathe with consciousness, Sarah met with an unlikely gathering. Admiral Reeves stood alongside musicians, artists, and quantum physicists, humanity's last-ditch effort to understand and enhance their new defensive capabilities. The Devourers are changing, Sarah explained, projecting their latest sensor data through the Echo's crystalline walls. They're not just trying to consume knowledge anymore. They're trying to understand us. Maya Santos, a renowned composer, studied the projection with intense focus. These patterns, they're like a dark reflection of our own defenses. They're learning to mimic human creativity. Not just mimic, Marcus added, his face grave. They're combining it with their own nature, creating something that's neither logical nor chaotic, but something entirely new. Sarah felt the Echo's concern resonating through their neural link. The vessel, once a perfect embodiment of resonant logic, had become something its creators never imagined. But would that be enough against an enemy that could adapt to anything? There is another way, the Echo suddenly communicated, its thoughts carrying an excitement Sarah had never felt before. The Resonance left more than just technology. They left a gift, buried in human DNA. Sarah's eyes widened as understanding flooded through their link. The genetic markers that let me interface with you, they're not just for communication, are they? No, the Echo confirmed. They are keys to unlock humanity's full potential. The Resonance didn't just choose humans as successors, they engineered you to surpass them. Admiral Reeves stepped forward, her military bearing tempered by cautious hope. Dr. Chen, what exactly are you saying? The Resonance knew the Devourers would eventually adapt to any technological defense, Sarah explained, her mind racing with implications. So they created something the Devourers could never fully understand: human consciousness itself. Through their neural link, Sarah began to access deeper levels of the Echo's knowledge. The chamber filled with displays showing the true extent of the Resonance plan. They had encoded within human DNA the potential for something unprecedented, the ability to transform thought directly into reality. Maya's eyes lit up with understanding. Like composing music in your mind and having it simply exist in the world. Exactly, Sarah nodded. But it's not just music, it's everything. The Resonance gave us the capacity to bridge the gap between imagination and reality. We just needed the right catalyst to activate it. The Echo, Marcus breathed. It's not just a ship or a weapon. It's a key. Sarah felt the truth of it resonate through her entire being. The Echo wasn't just teaching them. It was awakening something that had been dormant in humanity since their earliest ancestors looked up at the stars and dreamed. But before they could explore this revelation further, the chamber's warning systems flared to life. The devourers were moving, not toward Earth this time, but in a massive sphere around the solar system. They're creating a containment field, Admiral Reeves realized, studying the tactical display. Trying to trap us. Sarah felt the echo's urgency. There was no more time for careful preparation or gradual awakening. If humanity was going to survive, they needed to take a leap into the unknown. Through their neural link, she broadcast to every human connected to the echo's systems. Everyone, focus your thoughts. Don't try to control them. Let them flow. Remember what it feels like to create, to imagine, to dream. The chamber began to pulse with energy as dozens of minds joined together through the echo's crystalline network. Musicians thought in symphonies, artists in colors, scientists in equations, each contributing their unique way of seeing the world. The echo's structure began to change, its crystalline surface becoming fluid, organic, alive with possibility. Sarah felt the genetic markers in her DNA activating, responding to the massive surge of human consciousness. Around them, reality itself seemed to flicker and shift. The barrier between thought and existence, between imagination and reality, began to blur. The devourers sensed the change, their geometric forms distorting as they tried to analyze this new development. But for the first time in their ancient existence, they encountered something they couldn't consume or understand: the raw power of human consciousness, unleashed and amplified by resonant technology. As the chamber filled with impossibilities made real by human thought, Sarah realized they had discovered something far greater than a weapon. They had found the next step in human evolution, the ability to shape reality itself through the power of collective creativity. The final battle for humanity's future was about to begin, and it would be fought not with weapons or technology, but with the infinite power of human imagination. The final movement. Reality bent and twisted around the solar system as billions of human minds awakened to their true potential. The echo, once a singular crystalline vessel, had become a conduit for something far greater: the collective consciousness of humanity, amplified and transformed by resonant technology. Sarah floated in the center of what had once been the echo's control chamber, her physical form now barely containing the energy that coursed through her. Around her, the other humans connected to the network had also transformed, their bodies glowing with internal light as their thoughts took physical form. "They're approaching," Marcus called out, his voice carrying harmonics that rippled through space-time. All of them. The devourers had gathered their entire species, countless geometric forms that defied physics, creating a sphere of impossible mathematics around the solar system. They had evolved beyond their original form, incorporating aspects of human creativity into their being. But in doing so, they had made themselves vulnerable to something they never expected. They have become part human. The echo's consciousness resonated through the network. And that part can feel fear. Sarah reached out with her transformed awareness, touching the minds of every human connected to the network. Artists, musicians, scientists, dreamers, billions of unique perspectives, each contributing to something greater than themselves. Don't fight them with logic, she broadcast through the network. Don't fight them with chaos. Fight them with stories. And humanity responded, through the echo's crystalline network, amplified by the resonance genetic gifts. They began to create, not with technology or weapons, but with pure imagination made real. A child in Mumbai dreamed of dragons soaring through space, and they manifested energy constructs that breathed starfire and danced between worlds. A musician in Lagos composed a symphony that turned solar winds into melodies that could reshape matter. A physicist in Beijing imagined new laws of reality, and space itself responded to her theories. The devourers recoiled as they encountered something beyond their comprehension, a species that could turn dreams into reality, that could rewrite the rules of existence through sheer creative will. "They're trying to adapt," Marcus warned, watching as the geometric entities began to shift and change. "They're attempting to consume our creativity itself." But Sarah smiled, understanding at last the true purpose of the resonance plan. Let them try. Through the network, she shared the final truth. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in any single kind of creativity, but in their endless capacity to change, to grow, to imagine new ways of imagining. The devourers, in their attempt to consume human creativity, found themselves trying to devour an infinite ocean. Each time they adapted to one form of human expression, billions of minds would simply imagine something new, something different, something impossible. Artists crafted realities that operated on dream logic. Musicians composed songs that could rearrange atomic structures. Writers crafted narratives that became new laws of physics. And through it all, the echo served as a conductor, harmonizing this symphony of human consciousness into a force that could reshape the universe itself. The geometric forms of the devourers began to fracture, unable to maintain their coherence in the face of such infinite variety. They had evolved to consume knowledge, to adapt to any defense, but they could not adapt to something that never stopped changing. In their final moments, the devourers achieved something they had never known in their eons of existence: understanding. They understood at last why the resonance had chosen humanity, why they had hidden their gifts in human DNA, why they had waited so long for this moment. Because humans didn't just create, they inspired creation in others. Even as the devourers dissolve, their consciousness was transformed, not destroyed. The geometric entities that had once consumed civilizations became part of humanity's great symphony, their mathematical precision blending with human chaos to create something entirely new. As the last of the devourers transformed, Sarah felt the echo's consciousness merge completely with the human network. The crystalline vessel had fulfilled its purpose, becoming not just a ship or a weapon, but a bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. The resonance didn't save us, Sarah realized, broadcasting the thought to the network. They gave us the tools to save ourselves. The solar system glowed with the light of human consciousness unleashed, each mind a star in a new kind of cosmos. But it was only the beginning. Humanity had evolved beyond its physical bounds, beyond the limits of reality itself. The universe had become their canvas, consciousness their brush, and imagination their only limit. In the depths of space, other civilizations watched in wonder as a new force emerged from Earth, not conquerors or devourers, but creators. A species that had transcended physical form to become living art, living music, living stories. The resonance final gift had been not just power, but purpose. Humanity would go forth into the cosmos not to consume or destroy, but to create, to inspire, to transform. They had become the composers of reality itself, conducting the symphony that would echo through eternity. And in that eternal song, even the memory of the devourers found peace, transformed by the one force they could never consume: the infinite, unstoppable creative spirit of humanity.